Hi there! In this video, I'll be using a Cricut Expression Machine to make cute birthday cards for my nieces. I used the Twinkle Toes and Elegant Cakes cartridges for this project. You can use some like Decorate, which have card options as well, or make your own like I did. First, I grabbed some cardstock that looks similar to the color of my nieces, such as black and a skin tone color. I found this cute little dancer girl with a crown on the top of her head to cut out. For this project, I have to use layering, which is where you press the shift button or the layer buttons on the machine to get the additional cut images from the overall template. First, I turned on my machine and I have it set to portrait up at the top, next to the screen. If you don't have this selected, it'll just cut in a landscape mode, which is totally fine for this project. For heavier cutting materials like cardstock, you want to make sure your blade is set to a higher setting. Like in this case, I set it to 6. The lower the setting, the less pressure will come from the blade. Now go ahead and load the mat. I'm going to start with the base shape of the design, so I used black paper. And for this, I'm simply going to select the image from the silicone keypad. I also set this image to about 3 inches. After cutting it, I did make another one that was about 5 inches, as the 3-inch one was a tad bit too small. You can change the size by using the dial panel under the cut button. Once it's all good, go ahead and cut the design. Once cut, go ahead and remove the excess paper and you'll see the base design cut. I used a Cricut spatula to remove the image from the mat. Now, let's get to the face. Doing the same thing as before, load the mat, but this time we need the face image, which is the same button as before, but we need to press the shift button so it'll cut the correct design. As always, check the digital screen to make sure it is cutting the shape that you want, as well as making sure that the dimensions are the same as the first cut, so when you go to glue them together, it'll align perfectly. Now for the dress, which is here in blue, I need to use the paper the cartridge goes with to get the overlay, which I just put right over the silicone overlay, and this time I needed to press the layer button to get the shape that I needed to get the final design, which is the crown. It is also a layered overlay, so making sure that the layer button as well as the shift buttons are pressed and illuminated will get you the cut shapes that you need to complete the little girl image or whatever shape it is you are making. A tip for you, 9 times out of 10 it is usually the same button, but it can be different designs overall, which is the case for the Elegant Cakes cartridges. So now we're going to go ahead and just glue the design onto the base shape. Using the same Twinkle Toes cartridge, I'm going to make a cute little ballerina princess elephant that is included in the overlay. I used 2 different gray colors for this, black paper for the base design and then gold glitter paper for the crown. Following the same idea as before, I cut the base image of the elephant out with no other buttons selected to get the elephant design. Then I pressed the shift button and the elephant base image button to get the elephant head, and then finally pressed layer for the bottom part and then layer and shift for the glittery pieces. I know it sounds confusing, but once you start clicking around the buttons and then checking the digital screen to ensure that it's the correct image that's cutting, it'll become second nature. So always check the digital screen to make sure it is cutting the image that you want. And again, 9 times out of 10, it is typically the same button as before. You just have to make sure either the layer button is selected or the shift button is selected. Once all the images are cut, go ahead and start gluing. To figure out where each piece goes, just follow the image that is on the paper pamphlet, or you can make it your own and do it however you like. I also got this glue from Michael's. It's just liquid glue and you can use really any kind of glue for your paper projects. As mentioned before, for the elegant cakes, not only do I get this beautiful floral design, but I also got a customized font that goes with it. So I have to follow the pages to get each letter and which kind of lettering I want to use. I started writing out happy birthday, but noticed that this had a preset happy birthday design included, so I just went ahead and used that one. However, to spell out the name Sydney, I did go through and individually cut each letter following the booklet as instructed here. You can do this by following the layer shift buttons, as well as this specific overlay has a font option on the overlay to switch to between letters and shapes, which is pretty neat. And I'm sure if you've lost the overlay papers, I'm sure there's designs or images on the internet that you could definitely steal. Here is the birthday image I cut. I did make another little girl. I had the paper and wanted to make a little girl that was slightly taller than the other little girl for my older niece. I also cut her name out in the Elegant Cakes font, and if I were to do it again, I would definitely use a slightly regular looking font for the lowercase letters, but I think it turned out fine. I then cut a banner sized image for the designs to fit onto for the card, which didn't have enough paper, so I cut a smaller image within the messed up design so I didn't waste any additional paper. So how I did this was just making the dial go down a couple inches, maybe 2 inches or so then I could cut the design a little smaller. Once I had the design exactly where I wanted it to be placed, I just went ahead and started gluing it onto the image. If you're using a card, it will definitely fit a lot better than this did. I created more of a tag design to put on their birthday presents, but it can definitely be placed on a square image or something similar to a regular card. And that's it! Thank you so much for watching! If you liked this or have an idea for another project you'd like to see, please leave me a comment down below. I love hearing from you all and making projects to share. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!